There we go. Welcome everybody to this very first support group meeting of 2023. I see quite a few names that I do not recognize, so welcome if it is your first time. Welcome if it is not your first time. Welcome back if it is not your first time. I am Lenny Liebenberg. I am one of the co-hosts of these support group meetings. You'll please do excuse me when I might confuse, I might keep saying PhD support group meetings. That's what these meetings were called a while back. But then we realized that the support group meeting was not only attended by PhD students, it was attended by master's students, by honors students, some staff members as well. And we thought, you know, in the sense of being inclusive, let's include and change the name to the postgraduate support group meeting. So then, now that that's out of the way, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. My co-host, Colleen Aldous, is here, not here yet, but I'd like to start off with a round of introductions for these sessions. These support group meetings are part of the Postgraduate Academy that began in last year. Can I just hold up and give you a couple seconds worth of background? So in 2020, you know, when the world just changed incredibly, Prof. Colleen Aldous hosted a session for her students, virtual session. So everybody could just, you know, grab a cup of tea, come to their computers, interact with their with each other, their peers, speak about science and still be engaged in the academic community. And that then grew, it evolved into what we now have today, the Doctoral Academy, where on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays, we focus on our development as academics. On Tuesdays, that's why you're here today, the content is geared towards professional development, giving us more of a holistic support for development during our research, whereas the Wednesday meetings would be more technical. So that's when you're learning more about how to write an abstract for an article, how to apply for grants, etc. On Tuesdays, this is where we'll be learning more of those things that they don't teach you in a curriculum. So how to find a mentor, how to manage work-life balance, how to communicate effectively, how to manage your supervisor, etc. You know, those pieces of gold. So those are what you can look forward to within the next couple of sessions. And the people who would be facilitating these sessions are here today, and we will be having a brief round of introductions. But before I do so, I do want to emphasize that these meetings are incredibly interactive. They're meant to be casual, they're meant to be constructive, they're meant to be uplifting. And that's what we aim for every week. We do have a couple of ground rules for these meetings. Unfortunately, because of bandwidth constraints, we do ask that you please keep your audio and your video switched off during the presentations. And this is just to minimize bandwidth pressure. And I'm really sorry about that. It does give the semblance of less interaction. But we do want to make sure that we promote interaction within these sessions by using our reaction icons or our emoticons just to express ourselves during this meeting. If you can, if you're not sure where it is, please take a moment to go and find it. I need to do it as well. I cannot find where my reactions are on Zoom. Oh, there it is. I can do this. Thank you for the other people who are doing it themselves. We'd also like you to make sure that you type in the chat box, you know, if there are any questions, any comments, anything that you'd like to add to any discussion, please use the chat box to have yourself heard. If you'd like to use your voice, you're also welcome to raise your hand for an opportunity to voice your opinions. What we also like to do within our sessions is to have you have a browser ready, not to do something else, while you're pretending to listen. No, to have a browser and be ready to use it for real-time polls or questions, or just another way for us to be more interactive on the session. It's incredibly casual. No one's going to judge you. We are all here to help each other. And with that, let me introduce the rest of your co-hosts, the people you'll be seeing for the rest of the semester, the UKZN Student Support Services team. If I had a clapping sound in the background, I would. I don't, so I'll just do this or find my reaction icon and do that for you. I see, Sue, you've got your video on. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So hi, everybody. My name's Suzanne Stokes, and I'm an educational psychologist, and I'm based at medical school.
Thanks, Sue.
So I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful opportunity and wonderful support group. I'm Willie Teva. I am a student counselor, a clinical social worker, and I'm based at Nursing Public Health, and really excited to bring some of these sessions over to you. So I think the rest of our team is also here. I've seen Christy, and we have Nandi, who is a new addition to our team as well.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry, Lenine. I was getting excited.
We love the excitement, Christy. You're welcome to introduce yourself further if you'd like.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christy Greener. I am a clinical psychologist, and I am based in the School of Health Sciences at the Westville campus. So speechies, OTs, audiologists, optometrists, dental therapists, oral hygienists, pharmacists, and sports scientists. I am yours.
Thanks, Christy. Nandi?
Hi there, everyone. As Sue has said, that I'm the new member. I did join in on your sessions quite late last year, so I'm looking forward to just joining you guys right through from the beginning towards the end of the year. So I'm a counseling psychologist by profession, and I'm based both at Westville campus as well as School of Medicine.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I haven't really introduced myself either. I'm Lenine Liebenberg. I am based at Caprisa. I am an associate professor at UKZN under CHS. I am, I guess, part of the organizing committee and the driver of the Tuesday sessions in particular, because I realized I needed some help. I started off at UKZN as a postdoc in basic science, and I struggled quite a bit. And it was only much later, after I'd had students to supervise and, further on in my career, when I realized that there's a student support services team who could have helped me ease my transition into becoming an independent scientist. I needed assistance with, learning how to find a mentor, and I've learned so much about that I'm going to be giving you some sessions on that as well during these meetings. Learning about time management, learning about, how to deal with the line managers and the supervisors, how to be a better supervisor, how to train students. I just needed the support to deal with postgrad life. And I wish I had it then. So now all the things that I've learned and all the people I've spoken to and all the people who are willing to help me are here to help you as well. And I'm still learning. And with that, I'd just like to point out what we'll be going through within the next semester. So based on what our previous experiences with students and postgrads within our previous PhD support group, postgrad support group meetings, what our needs were. We based our sessions along certain themes, which I'm showing you right now. So for the next couple of Tuesdays, we'll be focusing on postgraduate journeys, what worked, what didn't work, the role of the student support services team. We'll be discussing holistic wellness and how to balance effectively mentorship, which is a big thing for me, supervision, the supervisory relationship, how to manage that, how to improve that, and all of that should hopefully give you a good foundation for, you know, your next couple of years, or for however long you'd be part of the academic institution. We are all lifelong learners, I guess. And the SSS team will be telling you now within this session more about how else they can be of smart service, how to support you and your development during your period. But we also need some information from you as well about to improve, to fine-tune the sort of support that we are able to give, just to make sure that nobody goes through the horrible period that I went through. And I know that I'm not alone, that there are many others who have had terrible experiences and want to make sure that everything forward is more streamlined, or that we learn resilience and can manage, you know, taking the knocks head on, and become more flexible with how we deal with challenges. But enough about me. Let me move on to the student support services team. I understand that there will be 2 specific presentations regarding the support offered within the college. Sue and Willie. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly prepare my screen. So there we go. So I will be taking little part 1, and then I'm going to be handing over to Willie to end off our session today. So yeah, so I will be sharing a little bit about the support that we offer our students for success. Do keep an eye out in the chat space if there is any yeah, we will be sharing a link, a needs assessment link during the course of the session, but do share with us maybe if I am sharing something that resonates with you or that you would like to know more about. Do use the chat space and pop in your questions there, or raise your hand. I really like an interactive session, so that's awesome. So yes, student success doesn't happen by chance. Improving student success requires an intentional, structured, coherent, collaborated, and a resourced strategy. And here at SSS, we are mindful of that. We know that the changing higher education landscape means that we should, ensuring student success means that, ensuring student success cannot be business as usual. Given the diversity of higher education institutions and the complexity of our students' personal histories, no single strategy will apply to all. So hence, we offer a tailored strategy to reflect institutional and student characteristics. And I will be unpacking that during my presentation. So yeah, at the College of Health Sciences, we have the structured, integrated, collaborated, and coordinated student success strategy that's designed from first year and beyond. So we know that university students frequently experience considerable stress, and that emanates from personal, academic, social, familial, emotional, occupational, and financial stresses. While most students cope adequately with the demands and pressures, many do become overwhelmed, and we know that without constructive help, their creative outputs and academic performance may be jeopardized. So student support services plays that critical role in helping students to regain the emotional balance that's necessary to cope with the demands of university life. So just to unpack it a little bit more, our purpose. So we support and enhance wellness, holistic growth, and development of a student. Our interventions are aimed at limiting premature dropout and failure, and we provide guidance, counseling, and psychotherapy, and we offer this in a variety of ways. How do we go about doing this? We start off with just getting to know our students, and Willie's going to unpack that a little bit more in detail, how we've done it in the past and how we're going to be doing it this year. We prioritize the needs of our students. We create an enabling environment. We provide an out-of-classroom student experience through our developmental programs, and we support the holistic development of students. And overall, we add to this positive university experience. So what is expected of you? So you kind of know what we can offer you, but what's expected as you are central to your success. We know that the PG comprises of different experiences, challenges, and highlights, and it's important for you to document that and ensure that your goals are established and that you're working towards those goals and knowing how to cope with those demands of the study program successfully. So during the course of the process, we will give you some tips and strategies on how to make that work. We expect you to display that attitude, the work ethic that is needed to progress and proceed with your academics, as well as to live a good, balanced academic student life. And most importantly, you need to be physically, mentally, emotionally healthy, and I'll share a little bit more why that is important, but it will help and guide you in remaining holistically well and successful in your studies. Prioritize your wellness, and that is definitely that first step in ensuring your success. So we know the academic program tends to expect quite a lot from you, and you know, and it is a small component of a student, and we see that only 20% to 25% of those expectations are actually the formal curriculum. Whereas all the other challenges and things that students are having to grapple with are the out of classroom or curriculum needs. And that's what we're hoping to address with a lot of our interventions, whether it's within the group sessions and the group spaces or within the individual spaces. So in this partnership together, our primary purpose is to enhance student academic performance and holistic well-being. So literature has shown a strong link between student wellness and academic success. Students with the highest well-being at any one point will demonstrate strong academic performance and lower rate of absences. And we see this also translating into the workplace too, where positive and good wellness will see fewer absences and achieving those workplace objectives. So the World Health Organization has referred to this as an essential foundation for learning and thriving in the workplace, having that holistic well-being, that healthy holistic well-being. So this holistic approach is a complementary relationship where students become determined, resilient, committed learners, and it is a key component to flourishing. And secondly, flourishing leads to academic and workplace competence and performance. So therefore, devoting your time and resources devoting time and resources to ensure that students are physically and mentally well is a worthwhile investment. So what does this investment look like? So we're starting off with an intervention program at orientation, which we kind of alluded to a lot of the transitional and adjustment aspects that you will experience while at university within the postgraduate space. Thereafter, you will notice we will do some marketing and sharing our services and the type of support that is available. You will also be concurrently receiving academic support, and this is to enhance your academic performance, your motivation and retention within the program. There will be opportunities to develop those necessary academic skills, which Prof. Lenine has shared really beautifully, and even within your academic programs. We offer out of workplace hours interventions we offer within the living and learning spaces. So and these are evening webinars that we tend to host that tackle also additional topics. We release a wellness assessment, and this allows you to share with us a little bit about your needs, your unique needs as an individual. And yeah, it gives us an opportunity to really understand the kind of support that you would require from us as you progress through your academic journey. Our aim there would be to promote the adjustment, engagement, and holistic development needed to accomplish the success that you envision for yourself. Once completing the wellness assessment, we profile and we offer you those individualized interventions, and the interventions cover a range of these holistic domains, such as personal, emotional, career, or occupational. And we also assist with additional referrals outside of our team. During your academic program, we will also track and monitor your progress, whether you're meeting your academic objectives. We also, receive referrals from your supervisors, as well as the academics that lecture you, in the event if you're not performing and require that additional assistance. So yeah, just to put it in a bit of a nutshell, Student Support Services offers a free, professional, and confidential counselling and academic support service to all registered students at the College of Health Sciences. So I'm sure you were wondering, as we introduced ourselves as student counsellors, you might have thought about, well, what is a student counsellor? And in a nutshell, we are trained registered professionals, either a psychologist or a clinical social worker, and we offer student support interventions, whether it's individual or group counseling, career and academic interventions, as shown on this slide. So essentially, we help students identify within themselves what support services they would need to develop holistically into these professional healthcare practitioners. And we also encourage students to be responsible for their own learning and wellness and remaining in control of their journey at university. So we know that there has been quite a bit of a shift in how we offer our services. So at this present moment, we offer a hybrid version of our psychotherapy and counseling services. And at the moment, you are most welcome to have that blended approach. We offer in-person and online services. And our group skills sessions are predominantly interactive webinars like today. And we also have a Moodle module that provides the additional resources that one may need, kind of like little self-help guides. And we address issues of mental health, opportunities for life skills development, education, and awareness. We also offer career development and counseling services. So there we look at unpacking your career journey beyond your current degree, as well as career progression. And just to kind of tie everything together, so we are very focused on your holistic wellness and your mental health and wellness. And we have a policy in place that ensures that you remain well, in the sense as it's been structured in the HPCSA or SANC or SAPC statutory councils. We are then, required to ensure that our impaired practitioners receive the necessary help that they are required to remain, stable, to remain well, enough to be able to achieve the workplace demands. And how do we do that? We have a range of support interventions. We offer the psychotherapy, the external referrals to either psychiatrists or any other allied healthcare practitioner. Within the university, we have additional support services that are geared to ensure your success. We have the SSS team, Student Support Services. We also have Campus Health Services, the HIV and AIDS department, Disability Support Unit, as well as our Occupational Health Services. And a lot of these were unpacked in our academic orientation and integration programs. But just to ensure that, just bringing it back full circle, that there is this structured collaborative support program available. And the program that is year-long and extends throughout your studies over the next couple of years it allows us an opportunity to get to know you better. It is focused on enhancing your student wellness and success, and it provides that ongoing support that is needed to manage the demands of the university life. We track our students continuously throughout their academic programs, and we identify those additional gaps for further support, and we implement a series of programs that is aimed to equip you with those necessary skills. So in semi-conclusion, we know that improvement in student learning and success is not just the effort of an individual or a single program, but the results of structured, coherent action by all involved in the students' lives, and that includes your participation in your journey. So how do you get in touch with us? So as you've heard before, we offer our services across our campuses, as well as our decentralized clinical training platform spaces. We all have support during our office hours, as well as sessional counselors in the evenings. And we also have a dual means of connecting with us and securing that appointment. So we have the toll-free line, which you are most welcome to call to secure an appointment. And the number is 080-080-0017, or you can email us on chs.sss@ukzn.ac.za, and a front desk administrator will receive your email request. Share with the front desk administrator the degree that you're studying, as well as possible dates and times that you are available, along with the contact number. One of our front desk administrators will respond to your email and assist you with securing your appointment. So we have additional support services and resources available for our students, and these are national helplines as well as lifelines that one may call, and these are services available 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So in the event of a crisis, you are most welcome to contact those the contact numbers for medical students as well as interns. You may call 0800-323-323, or you may contact SADAG, which is the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, on the numbers there, 0800 12 13 14 or 0800 456 789. Additional contact numbers such as Higher Health will be shared in the chat space, which is not on the screen. But we also have additional support from your risk management services team on campus. So if there is an emergency and you require immediate assistance, access my UKZN app, tap for emergency, or contact RMS on campus. And with that, I just want to say thank you. And if there are any questions, do share with me. I did see something pop up in the chat space. Okay, so we will definitely address the administration question there, but any other questions around our services, please do share with me. And the team, we are still around to answer that. And with that, I am going to be handing over to Willie. So Willie, over to you. So there we go, Willie. You may unmute and we can see your screen. No problem.
Okay, so I see that both Sue and I were both very excited about the session because both of us seem to have had our dates crossed here. So instead of saying 23rd of February, I'm already a month ahead. Well, I think you would all agree that it almost seems that the year is really, really far into it because we've all been working really hard. But on that note, thank you once again, Suzanne. Thank you, Lenine, and welcome, students. I'm Willie, and I'm going to take you a little bit deeper into what Sue has already introduced to us. Suzanne's shared broadly who we are, what we do, how to access us. I'm going to take you a little bit into into the actual strategies that we have in place. I'm going to share some of the lived experiences of our students, and I'm going to share with you how we constantly evolve to incorporate the lived experiences of our students so that our students benefit from the services and support that are most relevant to them. I think I'm just going to put my camera off because my internet seems to be a little bit wobbly today. Okay, so I'll take you through in this session. I'll take you through what we've done during the lockdown and what we've discovered about our postgrad students during COVID. I'm going to share with you our SWAT initiative, which is a student wellness and academic transformation. Suzanne's introduced it to you in terms of the wellness component of our initiatives with you. And I'm also going to extend that into a few brief tips on how to start your postgrad journey and how to cope with it from the outset. We will also share a link with you in the chat space, which we are hoping to you would immediately interact with. It is a needs assessment, and we are hoping to understand where you are right now and what are some of your needs so that we could waste no time in actually developing interventions to be able to support you better. So, like Lenine said earlier, I want to reiterate that it is a very relaxed session, although we're sharing lots of information. It's an introduction into your postgrad journey, but we would love for you to please communicate with us. Feel free to pop in a question in the chat space or unmute and you can ask your question, raise your hand, and my colleagues will be able to just alert me that there is somebody that wants to actually say something and communicate with us. So please feel free to do that. So I thought we'd take just a moment to get to know who we have with us. You know, we have at least 30 students on board today, and that's really awesome. And I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you. And if you could maybe just give us an idea, you know, in terms of if you agree with us, thumbs up. If it's a negative, then thumbs down, or you may pop your responses into the chat space. And this is really just to understand who we have with us here today and gives us an understanding of our postgrad students overall. So my first question to you is, I'm feeling a little bit disconnected when I'm not having my video on, but if my internet gets wobbly, I'll just put it off again. So how many of you that are here with us today are registered for the very first time in the postgrad journey? Maybe a hand up. How many are registered for the very first time this year in this postgrad journey? So I see no hands up. Am I correct?
So far, we've got one that is new. That's the first time in their PG journey with us. Two.
Okay, one student first time. Wow. Okay. So then that means my next question was, how many of you are returning students? And I'm going to assume it's 29 hands up. So how many are returning?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. So great stuff. Is it like really a lot of the students, a majority of the students that are returning? So obviously the question on when last were you a student does not apply because you have been a student even as recent as last year. My next question is, how many of you are in full-time employment? And this is an important question, especially when we're talking about student support, your needs, etc. So in full-time employment, I see there's 5 raised hands.
So it seems like a third of the group.
Okay. And just to understand where you are zooming in from and where you would be continuing your program from, how many of our students here today are from outside of KwaZulu-Natal?
Wow.
So we also have a significant number of 5 participants raised hands to outside of KwaZulu-Natal. And so majority of you said that you are returning students, right? So my question to you, my next question to you is, have you heard of student support services prior to today? Well, how many of you have? If you have, you can raise your hands. Okay, so there's around 6, 7 student participants who indicate that they have heard of student support services. May I then ask, have you accessed our services in the past? How many of you have accessed our services in the past? So Sue, I see 1 raised hand. Am I correct?
Yeah, and I'm also thinking, or attended workshops that we've hosted, just some type of interaction with us.
Okay, so that's very interesting for us to know that majority of you are returning students. A few of you have heard of student support services, and 1 student has accessed our support or our services, whether it be workshops or psychotherapy. So that's interesting. My last question to you would be, can you probably describe to us now how you're feeling thus far today? And I see there is a raised hand. So while students are answering their questions to us in the chat space, how are you feeling? Share some of your feelings with us. Perhaps we could take the question from the raised hand.
I see, Wally, we also have a few people who've posted in the chat space. I see Fatima is saying hi, only for postgrad. I'm not sure if she's responding to the question where you asked about how many people have heard about the student support service. So that's her response. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Fatima, if that wasn't the question you were answering to. And then we see, I think we also have Maxwell, who's saying that I'm a returning PhD student, not employed and currently in Malawi. So I think we're having various responses to the different questions that you've been asking.
And understandable, because we've asked them so soon next to each other, and that's wonderful. So Fatima, I think I'm just to share that, yes, there's an intensive postgrad support program in place, and that's amazing. We've got some feelings coming through. I'm being motivated and overwhelmed. And also we hear that, to be honest, I'm very stressed, not really sure if I'm on the right track with my work. And yeah, so I think, well, Google talks about being stressed and not sure if it's in the right track, but I think being in this space and sharing your concerns with others and knowing that there's such a lot of support out there, I think that's helping to get you onto a right track, that you'll be able to get all the support that you need. So I hear your feelings, and thank you for sharing them with us. And this is why our team is here, to reassure you and to allow you to know that, yes, if you're anxious and stressed and overwhelmed, and the range of feelings that are coming through, to let you know that student support services and the team are very willing to engage with you right from the beginning of this journey. So that was just, and I think you've helped us to get to understand where you are right now. So as Suzanne said, and placed it into context, that student success does not happen by chance. And she spoke about, in the College of Health Science, we have a structured, integrated, collaborative, and coordinated student success strategy that is designed not just for first years, but also for students beyond until graduation and including the postgrad students, which is what I'm going to take you through, but very, very briefly to share that our strategies have been based on national and international and local research. Our strategies were enhanced specifically after a study that was conducted at UKZN by Prof. Hugh Africa in 2005, who investigated the reasons for high student failure rates and looked at what are the factors that are impacting on student success. And based on the findings, which is a range of factors in terms of the adjustment and psychosocial factors, financial, etc., we at Student Support Services look at putting into place an entire strategy to best support our students. This was mainly for undergraduate students, particularly first entry students. However, we found that with a growing cohort of our postgrad students and the increasing needs of our postgrad students, it was critical for us to extend interventions to postgrad students and offer target-specific, proactive support so that our postgrad students could also enjoy a range of services and support and succeed in their program. So we've had all of that in place right up until 2020. And then this very much anticipated 2020 arrived. You know, it was a year that we all believed a new beginning of a new decade, and you know, there was infinite possibilities awaiting us. However, whilst we looked forward to the many possibilities, we did not expect, nor could we be prepared for what the coronavirus brought us. And I think it's safe to say that each of us grappled with this in our unique roles and our varying spaces. And we had to adapt, and as we learned, you know, we had to adapt whilst we were learning. But our unique experiences, as unique as they were, we also experienced very many similarities as a collective. And so whether you are starting out in this postgrad program or wrapping up or somewhere in between, we need to be aware that COVID has changed our lives in a number of ways. So for us at Student Support Services, we needed to get our feet on the ground very quickly and figure out what the impact of COVID, what it meant then during the lockdown, what it means for us now when we post-COVID, and how this is going to translate into unique interventions for our students. So just to take you through, during the lockdown, I just want to touch on this. We in 2020, we immediately tried to get into understanding what was happening to our students back in their unique spaces. And we released a survey during that time where we try to understand a range of aspects that were impacting our students in terms of their feelings, their emotions, their understanding during the lockdown, their fears and their worries, the impact on their goals, the impact on their families and their finances and their jobs, etc., as can be seen on the slide. We also wanted to find out, how do we move forward? And that was in 2020. How are we going to heal through this? And how are we going to return to a state of normalcy? And some of the feedback that we got from our students was that at that time was that there were many challenges of online learning. There was the stress of the pandemic and isolation during the lockdown. And this lockdown survey experiences guided the development of our services. And some of the primary themes that we pulled out and we pushed into psychotherapy as well as to workshops were around anxiety, panic and fear, the uncertainty around the academic program, fear of failure, mental health issues, and challenges with online learning. The learning environment at home, the home responsibilities were reported to as having a negative impact on our students' ability to study, as well as there were challenges in terms of the work-life integration, including the blurred boundaries that we all experienced during lockdown and working from home. So where are we now, 2023, a few years later? We find that impact of COVID is still with us. We are aware that it still appears to be repeated infections, and COVID has not really left us. COVID has also resulted in us grappling with many other issues, and we know that these are going to be issues that we're going to face for the years to come. So for many of our students and in our student support service spaces and in our counseling spaces, we are working with students who are increasingly dealing with loss, grief, bereavement issues, increased mental health presentations, financial instability, increased workplace demands, increased family conflict, impact on familial and intimate relationships, as well as impact on their academic goals and timeframes. And as much as we share the negative impact that we've experienced on COVID, there were several positive aspects that arose during this period. And I think it's really worth mentioning, such as, surprising ourselves with how resilient we are, being able to bounce back in the face of such adversity and challenges. We've been able to create opportunities when we felt stuck, when we felt that there was no solutions. People became so creative. There was a huge emphasis on something that we had truly been lacking on, and that was on our self-care, doing things that we enjoyed, taking better care of ourselves, valuing our time, our loved ones, and life and living, establishing this wonderful attitude of appreciation and gratitude. So all was not doom and gloom during that period. We had also taken away a lot of lessons that has strengthened us going forward. Prior to COVID and during COVID, lots of the common problems that we found students experienced were relationship issues and family issues, mental health aspects, substance use, trauma, crisis, identity issues, issues of loneliness, academic performance, and career confusion, amongst the others that are on the slide. But unique to postgrad students, we also noticed that there were transitional challenges and anxieties around independent studying, sustaining your motivation, managing the multiple roles that you find yourselves in, integrating into university, the isolation and loneliness, funding and accommodation, language barriers, bullying in the workplace, mental vitality and wellness, and completing the research components, situational and circumstantial challenges. So I just listed a few out here, but we found this unique to our students, our postgrad students. And this led us, well, it didn't, we've always had a student wellness and academic transformation program in place. However, we find that it is critical for us now to be able to have our postgrad students complete this, the wellness assessment. It is an annual program that we facilitate in order to help us better understand where you are across several domains in the wellness wheel, so that we'll be able to understand you. And if we can understand you, that means we can offer you timeous support across a range of domains, such as what you see in front in terms of your emotional, psychosocial, intellectual, occupational, environmental, spiritual, cultural, and physical biological domains. So the way you answer the questions that that are part of the assessment would indicate to us whether you require our services and support across the various domains. I'm going to just quickly go through it because I noticed that time is not really on our side. So you will be getting we will be releasing this tool in the middle of March. And we are hoping that you will complete this, because when you do complete this, we get to understand what your unique needs are. We have much emphasis on the academic domain in terms of how you're coping, as well as the relationship between your supervisor and yourself, and how this is aiding to support you to be successful in your program. So it is critical for us to understand the challenges that you are having, and we will only understand this when you interact with this tool, which will be released in the middle of March. Yeah, so I just went quickly through that because I wanted at least a few minutes to touch on something that's really important to you at the beginning of this journey, and to look at, who is a postgrad student, what are our postgrad students' needs? And we often ask our students this, and I think it's important to understand that, we know that postgrad students have successfully completed an undergraduate degree, and you're furthering your studies at an advanced level. But we also know that a postgrad student's needs are very different to an undergraduate by the very virtue of your established roles and your responsibilities. So it's highly unlikely that you sit here today as solely a student. We know that you have multiple roles that you have to function within. And therefore, I love this quotation from a postgrad student who states that besides my studying, so many other things need my attention. I can't just every time say that I am studying, that I can't do the other things. I have a family life and all of the other things and a social life. So my whole life can't just revolve around studies. So I give to each part of my life what I think is good enough. So I think this is a very powerful quotation for you to really reconsider, reread if you need to, and think about how are you going to give to each part of your life something of you, and still maintain a level of progression in your academic program. And that's important because that also boils down to being a happy student when you can actually find this wonderful balance. So I have some tips that I want to share with you, and I might not be able to go into absolute detail on this now, but that's also okay because we do have further sessions on how to actually cope within each one of these aspects that I'm going to touch on now. So, the support group will address many of these, and I'm just going to touch briefly on it. So the relationship between a postgrad student and your supervisor is unique, and it is actually very, very critical to your success. It often demands concerted effort and sacrifice on both the part of the supervisor as well as you as a student. So I think it is very important that you try to make time to understand what is expected of you and what is expected of your supervisor right from the very outset of this journey and your relationship. Another very important tip is to actually, go out of your way to actually find out things right now. Students tend to function on a need-to-know basis, and very often leave this need to know until it becomes, I have to know. And when you have to know something, it sometimes becomes too late when you get the information. So whilst you have time at the beginning of the program, try and find out all that you need to know in terms of funding, accessing the library and other resources, the requirements of your program. Try and spend some time finding out as much as you can that can actually set the foundation for this program. And like I said, give to each part. As adult learners, we have many demands on us, and all of them seem to be most important. So develop an attitude of giving to each aspect what is good enough. This is a nice balance here. Sometimes you might involve your family so that you can finish off some parts of your post-grad journey. Sometimes it might mean that putting that aside so that you can have time for your family. You just need to be realistic about how much of time you will be able to spend on the study program. Okay, so some of the pointers that you can start thinking about right now is organizing yourself a quiet and private space, a place that you can have just as your study area, as your study space. Nobody can interfere with it. You can leave it and go on with the rest of your duties or responsibilities and come back and find that the space is just the way you left it. So ordinarily, a dining room space or a shared space is not ideal. If you can actually cordon off a little space, whether it is in your room or a little private space for yourself that you can constantly work on and get to at the end of the day and pick up from where you left off at the last sitting, that would be ideal. Very important to read widely, read thesis in the field of work that you are studying, just to be able to get familiar with the academic discourse in the field that you are writing up on. Supervision sessions are very critical. It could be helpful to be able to tape the supervision session, so you could always refer back to it and refer to your supervisor as an expert in this field. So there's things that's going to be shared during supervision that you might not want to forget. So as you're transcribing this, or go back and listen to it, it's great. It's going to help you to be able to rearrange your arguments, because your supervisor writes with an academic voice that you are still trying to get into grips with. From the very beginning, start writing your bibliography. And I think we're going to have more discussions on this, so I'll just touch on that very briefly. Start your bibliography right from the outset. From the very first article that you read, get into the habit of writing down your bibliography in the right format, etc. Discover from now how you're going to find a system of filing, because you're going to end up with lots of information and what's going to work best for you. And as you start writing, start getting to the habit of dating your drafts and saving regularly, saving in different places so that you'll always be ensured that your documents do not get lost. So just to share that, this journey can somehow be, be a bit isolating, be a bit lonely. It's very important for you to stay motivated and not give up. And some of the things that can keep you motivated is just having conversations with other postgrad students about the challenges that you are experiencing, making certain that you get the support of your family, your partners, your children. And just remember that many, many students before you have done it. They have struggled, but they have done it and they have succeeded. There's going to be a needs assessment link. I'm sorry, I note that it is 1628. We would love to hear what are some of your needs so that we as Student Support Services can best support you now that you have an idea of all the services that we offer you. So don't be alone. Don't struggle on your own, whether it's in an academic space or in the psychosocial area. There are always lots of people out there to support you. If you don't understand something, speak to a lecturer, a supervisor, a peer. If you need advice with your study strategies, you're welcome to chat to Student Support Services, as well as the academic support team. If it's your mental health aspects that you're grappling with, adjusting to university, personal emotional challenges, consult with a student support, a counselor who will be able to offer you free services in a safe and confidential space. Suzanne's chatted about our services and who we are. I just want to state that don't wait till the last minute, because often when you leave things to too late, it becomes a crisis and then the intervention is minimal. So be proactive, realize what you require from now and seek our services and support. We know that you will do it, okay? So this is too important a journey for you to leave things to the last minute. Make time to come in and have a discussion with us at Student Support Services. Suzanne shared the details with you on where to find us. And I know that we will have lots more conversations in terms of what is required of you as a postgrad student, but I'm going to leave it at that point. And I say thank you. And if there's any further questions, we can chat further.
Thank you so much, Bully. It's fine. There's a lot of content, and we're also very excited for these sessions to get started and to begin the conversations as well. You know, you guys made I'm going to take 1 minute now just to touch on two things. I mean, Sue mentioned it, you mentioned it, that dealing with issues off campus, things that in the home life, in your social sphere, anything outside of your work life, can impact your productivity on campus as well. And knowing that there's support to deal with that too it's mind-blowing. Thank you so much for the information that you gave today. I hope that we'll continue our discussions over the next semester with all the participants here and all the friends and colleagues and friends of colleagues of all the participants here as well, because we are a community of postgraduates, and supporting each other through what is arguably one of the most difficult periods of our academic careers is very important. I might have gone through something that you're going through right now, and I might have tips to help you through it. The Student Support Services team have seen it all, and they'll be able to help us as well. So use this forum, share your experiences, interact. And that's every Tuesday for the rest of the year. So thank you very much, everybody, for being a part of this session, to the SSS team for making themselves available, for you, for being here, for interacting, for being vulnerable, for being part of this community. Thank you. We are in this together. We'll see you next week for a presentation, a discussion about the postgraduate journey for students by students. Okay, see you then. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you very much. And we will definitely have more conversations.
Take care, everybody. Goodbye.